Right, we're ready to go. Welcome to another edition of Onside SA. Just back from Australia, I had Bodrum in for me, and Budge went well last week.
Yeah, it went well, Paul. Obviously Stevie B.
Yeah, Stevie B's the legend. He's the legend. We're good to get his info. And what's interesting now, Budge, it basically starts today.
Yep, starts today, 5 o'clock. We haven't included any of our bets, obviously, because the show will fly tonight,
yes,
and so we've admitted that. But great hours, 2, 5, and 8. So great action, hopefully. Yeah.
All that's good. Well, we're going to try and get our international pundit Stevie B. He's based in London this week, and we're trying to get hold of him. As soon as I get the nod, we'll get on to him. Just to let you know what we're doing, we're going to run through the World Cup matches and the betting on each of them. And Budge has gone through and had a good look at them and worked out some good bets, Budge.
Yeah. Well, a lot of time spent, Paul, trying to get the right odds too. It's pointless going your 1 to 3s and all that. So look for a bit of value for the guys. Obviously,
I was speaking to a couple of guys, and they said, when you've got the group stages, you go for draws. And the other guy said, no, 90-minute draws also come into play when it's life and death.
No, of course.
People don't want to give it away, but they both seem to think there'll be a lot of draws.
Well, it just depends on who's playing who. If you're the 3rd and 4th ranked team in your group, you can't afford to draw.
Yeah.
It's like Iran-Morocco, I think, is the second game.
Yes.
Now, what happens is if they draw, they've got Portugal and Spain to play. So they may as well have a go and try and get the 3 points.
All right, let's talk about Spain. But I believe Stevie's on the line. Steve, you there?
Lovely, thanks.
Just seeing if we got Stevie. Steve, you're in?
I'm here. Good morning.
Morning, Steve.
Stevie B's in the house. Well done, Stevie. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks, Paul.
Good. I see that you had a couple of selections made for the World Cup last week while I was in Australia. So I'm going to throw in a few questions at you, but I want you to keep us up to speed, obviously, with transfer news for the big year that you're going to have with your team in the Premier League. But let's first talk about Spain. I want to know that the situation, Budge told me about it. It was last minute, and suddenly they bulleted this guy, Juven Lopfugu or Tugu or something.
Lopetegui, yeah.
Lopetegui. What's the story you got?
It's a crazy situation in as much as it obviously was approached by Real Madrid and sort of carried out negotiations behind the back of the Spanish Football Federation, and literally they found out only 5 minutes before he was going to make the announcement. And I think in a fit of pique, the president sacked him, rather than sort of thinking it through and thought, well, he's going to go anyway after the World Cup, but why rock the boat? So it's quite amazing. I mean, this is probably almost unprecedented in for a major football nation to happen on the eve of a tournament like this.
Shocking knee-jerk reaction. I thought, whoa! I thought, wow! Let him play it out. His record, Budge, is fantastic.
Yeah, he's unbeaten in 20. I think that the problem was he kept it to himself, or him and obviously Perez of Real Madrid.
Yeah, I mean, he was obviously planning to leave, but you would have thought, I think, that the etiquette would have been that he would have discussed it with the Spanish Football Federation. Correct. And said, look, I've had this offer, I'm not going to let it affect anything, and I'm leave after the World Cup, and sort of give assurances. But the fact that he was going to make the announcement without, or literally told them 5 minutes before the announcement was made, I think they just felt very sort of let down and angry by it. But it does sound like it was a knee-jerk reaction. But the Spanish team have come out sort of saying, well, whatever happens, they're a very professional team.
Yeah,
but whether or not we won't know until the first game as to whether it has had an effect.
Yeah, Antonio Conte, when he was in charge of Italy, he came out prior to the Euro 2016 and he said he's taking over Chelsea, and everyone wished him well. So I don't know why he never let the Spanish FA. And apparently the new president doesn't see eye to eye with Perez. He represents all the other clubs other than Real Madrid and Barcelona.
Yeah.
So it's obviously...
I mean, it's quite political there, as we know in Spain, with football, and obviously Madrid are the national team, the government's team, and there's always been some ill feeling as well. But it's just a bizarre situation. But they've obviously now got, their director of football, Fernando Hierro, he's a legend at Real Madrid and Spanish football. So he's been involved. I don't know whether or not any of the coaches' backroom staff have gone.
No, they've all gone. He's brought in a couple of other guys.
So it's bound to have some upheaval. because I mean, however good the team is, they need a little bit. They need direction, and they can't sort of make it up as they go along. So we'll see. I mean, they've got their toughest group game is obviously game one tomorrow.
Against the
tomorrow.
Portuguese.
I think we'll see an instant reaction.
Stevie, any news on the England front, just before we talk about local transfer news?
Well, I mean, there were sort of one or two little minor injury scares. Marcus Rashford and Eric Dyer, evidently they both seem to have come through. I think because England don't play until Monday, they've got another couple of 2 or 3 days to get everyone sort of fit, raring to go. It's interesting. It's been very low key. I mean, in all honesty, compared to tournaments, World Cup tournaments in the past, if you drive around the country, you see England flags everywhere. I don't think I've seen one yet. There's very low expectations, and I think they're just, almost it's probably the best thing rather than sort of letting them go out with a big fanfare. And I think people will get excited if they start to do well.
Yeah. What's the latest on the Egyptian king?
It looks as if he's sort of back in training, but I don't think at all that he will be available for the first game. So I guess if he comes through that, then he may well be available for their second game, which is obviously could be quite a crucial game against Russia. Because I still think Uruguay will win the group, and then I think it will be between Egypt and Russia for second place. So if he's fit for that, I think that would be good going.
Yeah, and Manuel now we're in goals for Germany. You think he'll start, or they play Ter Stegen?
Look, I mean, he's obviously a bit of a legend. He played recently, hasn't had much sort of game time. We don't know how he's been performing in training. I wouldn't be surprised if they start with him. But Ter Stegen's a great goalkeeper as well.
Yeah.
So I think Joachim Löw is going to have to just go with the one he thinks is not is going to sort of do the job for him on the day.
Stevie, let's talk transfer news, because every week we'll be able to talk more about the football. We'll have a bit of a guide of what's going on. Transfer news. Budgie said he heard a whisper about United might be losing Martial to Spurs.
Yeah, it was sort of leaked yesterday. I think the French press sort of saying that they've been in contract negotiations have stalled, and he's not in any rush to sign a new one. You sort of hear sort of different stories coming out of the United camp. It's almost like they want to keep him, but they're not sure he's a starter. Maybe from his point of view, I mean, he's still young. He probably wants to be playing every week. And I guess in the setup, in Mourinho's setup, he doesn't always figure as one of the first choice starters. So I think a lot of these transfers are not going to be determined until after the World Cup, and I think this often happens in a World Cup year. But we've got the added, I guess, pressure now is that the transfer deadline has been brought forward. So instead of the 31st of the month, it's now the 9th of August.
Yeah.
So with the World Cup finishing, there's literally sort of 3 to 4 weeks maximum between the World Cup finishing and the transfer deadline shutting. So I think there'll be a lot of positioning, but a lot of deals will be done in a very short space of time.
Steve, is it true the fixtures are out today?
Yeah, the Premier League fixtures are out in an hour's time.
Okay. So.
The Championship fixtures next week, but the Premier League fixtures, which obviously feature Fulham, which we're obviously looking forward to, in just under an hour.
Fulham. Budge and I were talking a moment ago, Steve, we're saying the top sides worldwide, and especially in the Premier League, have got great midfielders, and that could be where Man United are a bit lacking. But where does it leave Fulham with midfielders?
Well, I mean, at this moment in time, we haven't actually brought anybody in. Obviously, I guess we were a week or a couple of weeks behind the other teams in as much as, although I understand there are sort of plans behind the scenes if we went up, but, nothing's happened. And we're being linked with a number of players, but so far, all we've done is let the 6 players on loan go back to their parent clubs and lost Ryan Frederick. So our squad is really wafer thin, but... I suspect there will be quite a lot of activity. There is no question we need probably about 6 players to be brought in, of Premiership standards. So I think there'll be a lot of activity. But again, I think there is this phony war at the moment. There's a lot of people
newspapers.
And I think what often happens is you get 1 or 2 of the very big transfers happen, and then it all sort of cascades down.
Mm-hmm. Will you keep the young left-footed players at Sessegnon?
Yeah, I'd be very, very surprised if he left unless Fulham got some crazy offer. I think all the noises that are coming out. And he himself, I think he would rather stay and play regular first-team football than go to one of the big teams at the moment. Bearing in mind, he's only just 18. He doesn't need to be sitting on anyone's bench or playing in an under-23 squad. So I think it's too soon for him to go. He's still, got a lot to learn. And there was talk in the paper this morning, I read, that Mourinho might be fancying him to come in as a left back. Wouldn't necessarily start, but he's not a left back.
No, he's not a left back.
Attacking, he's a wing back. So I don't know why the press keep calling him a left back, because that is not his best position.
And the centre forward, Mitrovic, you went back to Newcastle, or are you looking at?
Well, I think the problem we have is that if he has a very good World Cup, there is no question. A, the price will go up, but B, other teams will want to come in for him. I think he would like to come to us, but we would have to offer Newcastle, sort of more than I think they would have taken for him in January if we'd have bought them outright. And I think we'd have to give him, a very good package. I think he would be the ideal centre forward for us. With somebody pacey playing alongside him.
Yeah.
All right, Stevie, that's fantastic. But just before you go, I've got to know that the gang were around to watch England-South Africa rugby at your place, and you must have been... Do you have to put the corks back into the champagne bottles after 20 minutes?
Well, we're at... We're at your sister-in-law's. So,
that's right.
There'll be sort of South Africa flags flying there anyway. So we'll see. It's all good stuff.
All good stuff. Steve, once again, thanks very much for your input, and keep us up to speed with the transfer news for next week, and we'll be able to talk to you about World Cup rugby, World Cup football.
Okay.
Sorry.
Cheers.
Thanks, Steve.
All the best.
Cheers. All right, Budge. Right, great to talk to Stevie. Now let's get straight into these World Cup matches. You've got betting. Obviously, we're not touching on
groups
today's.
first. Yeah, we got the groups up here first, Paul. Yeah.
Yeah, here we go. Here's the groups. Right.
Yeah, Group A, I think 8 to 10 if it's still available. Uruguay to win the group, I think, is a formality.
Oh, do you really think it is? I wasn't here last week when the three pundits went through it.
I just look at Russia. They've struggled to score goals, the pressure at home. Egypt, the first game is Uruguay-Egypt. Uruguay beat Egypt.
First game should be Russia.
No, sorry, that's today. Our first game for Uruguay is Egypt tomorrow. Without Salah, I think they'll win that. So I think that puts them pole position.
So there's a lot of twists to come. But
a lot of twists.
You're quite confident 8 to 10 is a good touch.
Yeah.
Okay, let's look at the next group. That's Group A. Group B.
Well, obviously after what happened last night, but I think it'll pull them together, if anything. They're not experienced players.
They're quality players. They're going on the field.
There's you just got to get them organised, pick the team, get them. How do you tell Real Madrid and
Would
Barcelona
you take 1 to
players?
5 for Portugal to qualify?
Never.
Never, right?
If ever there's a team that you never know, Ronaldo's carrying an ankle injury. They don't score many goals. Of all your upper teams, that's the team that could be. They should go through, but you never know. Now Iran have got that's Carlos Queiroz. I think they'll beat Morocco. I think Morocco will finish last in that group.
Do you?
Yeah.
Morocco not that bad, but
no, not bad. They didn't concede a goal, but they don't score many goals.
Is it true to say that this year, of all years, the weaker team, the minnows, they've all got stronger. They're all quality sides.
Yeah, I just don't think other than maybe your Brazil, the upper teams haven't got any stronger. I think they've lost a lot of players through the years.
Yeah.
When you have Ronaldo and Messi, the last 10 years been the best players.
Yeah.
For me, other than Neymar, there's not really that many other quality or great players out there. Iniesta's on his last legs.
I looked at the Argentinian side. Some of those guys, the boy came to United, didn't make it.
I can't have Argentina to win it.
Me too. I can't have them either. But anyway, let's go on.
Yeah,
So that's Group B. So you say Spain?
It should got to be Spain. Yeah.
Okay, top of the boards.
I fancy France to go all the way, and I like Peru.
What about the Socceroos?
Well, they play France in their opening game. Their manager, Bert van Marwijk, was a guy who took the Netherlands, the 2010 World Cup. He's just taken over. He's been there a couple of months. You know what they're like, Paul. The Aussies, they'll fight for everything.
South America, they're always talented.
Well, they only lost one of the last 8 qualifying games, and that was to Brazil. They drew with Argentina, Colombia. They're a dangerous team. I watched them against Sweden on Saturday.
This group is pretty, but they got France at 3 to 10.
Well, you never know with the French. They stack, but mentally, you just never know where they are.
All right, that's Group C. Group D, Budge?
Well, Group D, it's always, I think this is the toughest group ability-wise. Now, Iceland are 12 to 1. They finished above Croatia in the group. And they knocked England out. They are stacked. Their squad is limited. 22 of the 23 players' surnames end in son. So, but they,
So I would have got a game there. Anjin San.
Anjin San, you're right.
San, I
You know,
would have played.
Nigeria, quality team. They knocked out Algeria and Cameroon.
They can play.
But they
Nigeria
haven't got a
can.
goalkeeper, and that's the problem in that group.
They could have borrowed the boy from Liverpool.
Yeah, you're right. He couldn't hold his breath, that guy. And Croatia, they stacked, but I don't know who's going to play centre forward. I watched them play Brazil. They got beat 2-0. They got players, your Rakitic and Modric and those guys, Perisic.
They can
But
play.
they
Do
can
any of
play.
them not end in Tish?
I see all the edges. Mitrovic up front and Mandzukic, but they're a dangerous team. And Argentina, their goalkeeper plays for Chelsea, Willy
front.
Caballero. The back four, Morcada Seville, I can't have him. Otamendi, Fazio from Roma, the left backs, Rojo from Man United. If ever there's a team that may not win the group, it could be them.
I'm with you. I'm not taking 6 to 10 on them. Group D is Argentina, but I'm not with them to win the group even. Right, let's go on to the next group.
Well, Group E is, you got to fancy Brazil. Tournament
They've got to beat
favourites.
those 3 teams.
They're guaranteed.
I think 1 to 4 is a good price.
Yeah, they're in our big. Switzerland, I watched them the other day. They don't score many goals. Neither do Serbia and Costa Rica.
They've got a cheese and chocolate, eh?
The
Swiss. More holes in Swiss cheese than defence.
I like Serbia to go through, Paul. 12 to 10 to sneak into second place. They can't beat Brazil, but I think they'll sneak into second place, Serbia.
Okay, lovely. The next one's F.
Well, F is the Germans, but I'm not sold on the Germans outright, Paul.
I wouldn't take 1 to 3. Mexico can play. What is South Korea like? They're hoping for
that's
an
your
improved,
man, Son and Co.
Yeah.
They've had a poor qualifying campaign. Struggle to get through, but in Sweden, they knocked out Italy and Netherlands, the Swedes. So be careful. But I watched them the other day against Peru. They don't look like scoring a goal.
That's your key. Who's the team that put 5 past Northern Ireland? Ericsson's team.
Oh, that's Denmark. Yeah.
Denmark, they can score.
Yeah, they got.
All right, so that's Group F. So
Well, Belgium. I think England can finish above Belgium in the group. Belgium have gone back to playing 3 centre halves. Company is injured, so they tried it the other day and worked.
I think if those two, if England don't qualify,
Well, England will qualify.
They've
The
got to
first game.
qualify.
Yeah,
Got to
Tunisia are
qualify.
well organised. They've got a few players, but
Have
you've got to
they?
think England will beat those two. And it's the last game, so they should both go through. I wouldn't take 1 to 10 and 1 to 8, but you've got to fancy the top 2 to go through.
Okay, let's go and see how we're going to play them.
Well, it's Colombia in the last, Paul.
Oh,
I think,
there's H, I forget, yes.
I like Colombia. My boy up front, Radamel Falcao. I think there'll be plenty of goals in this group. This is the hardest group to have a bet in. There's so many variations.
Yeah, they're right.
I can't have
What is
Japan.
Japan like? Not too
Well,
good.
they've got Shinji Kagawa. They've got Okazaki from Leicester, the guy at the back from
yes,
Southampton.
yeah.
Senegal 14 to 10. Poland have got Lewandowski, and I like Colombia. I think of all the groups, this will have the most goals.
Colombia, famous for marching powder.
Yeah, the coffee makers.
Yeah, there we go. All right. Budge, it looks very. I'm really excited.
Oh, yeah, I think this will be.
Because there's going to be now top African team. Budge, what's your take?
Egypt have got the easiest group with Russia, but upsetting the home nation. And if Salah doesn't come back, eliminate them. Nigeria in it.
I'd take a bit of 5 to 2.
Yeah.
I think they're as good as Senegal.
Yeah, I just think Senegal may have a slightly easy group. I just think
Does
Japan.
Mane sound?
Mane, yeah, Koulibaly, they stacked, Paul.
Yeah. You like that word, they stacked.
Stacked, yeah, stacked.
stacked.
Plenty of
Sounds like
players.
it's stacked,
Tunisia, Morocco are in tough groups, and Nigeria with Argentina, Croatia, Serbia. So it's between the top 2, and if Salah doesn't come back, I can't see Egypt upsetting Russia.
I watched a little special on Salah the other day with that song of his, the Egyptian
Brilliant,
king.
yeah.
Great footballer. Great footballer.
He's got it. Yeah.
He's got it all. Okay, let's go and have a look at the next segment.
Now that was the winners, Paul. I've jumped ship. I was all over Brazil until I just can't have their back four. I think they've got a couple elderly guys at the back. Miranda, who plays at Inter Milan.
So to win the tournament,
To win the outright job. I've jumped onto the French. Now,
French?
I just think they've got so many players going forward. And I like the 2 centre-halves.
But we've got to have a beer bet on TV.
Okay.
For a beer, I want Brazil.
That's
you can
fine. I
have
got the
frog.
meeting in the semi-finals.
Will you get there?
Yep.
Okay.
Hopefully.
I'm big on Brazil. They
Yeah,
say
it has
they
to be
can't win
4 to
in
1.
Europe, and Germany couldn't win South.
Paul, 74% of the players playing in this competition play in Europe.
There you go.
So that doesn't hold fast to me. Yeah, Argentina, everyone's tipping. They've got a tough group to get through. Spain win their group. They've got Spain in the quarterfinals. And if it goes according to see Germany in the semi-finals. Messi started 60 games this season. There's 2 players more than him. He carried Barcelona this year.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough for him to carry Argentina.
He's such a talent.
Paul, he's been the best player in the world this year by far.
Far,
But he
by
won't
the
win
way.
he won't win the player of the Ballon d'Or.
Who'll win it?
Maybe Ronaldo will win it if he has a good tournament because they won the Champions League and he's
So they haven't decided it yet.
No, that's the biggest joke in the world, that award.
Okay, no
And,
problem. Let's move on.
You know, Spain, you never know, they're talented. You know, Belgium, obviously the trick team, Paul. They've got all the players. Have they got the mentality and that to win it? You never know with...
Jeez, they've got the team.
They-
England,
Can't
obviously,
have
we
England.
follow the league for years.
You know, Portugal with Ronaldo, I just can't see Portugal. You know, Uruguay have got players defensively and Cavani and Suarez up front. But they've got a tough road to get there. You know, they have to play Portugal or Spain in the last 16. But for me,
Okay.
I've jumped ship. I'm on the French.
Okay, anything else worth betting?
And it's on to the matches for the weekend, Paul. Yeah.
Okay, let's run through these budgets.
Yeah. Well, we haven't included today's game, obviously.
Is there only one game today?
Only one game. Yeah, the opening ceremony 5 o'clock.
So Friday, these are the starting times on the left.
Yep, Friday
so
2
tomorrow,
o'clock. 2, 5, and 8.
Egypt against Uruguay.
Yeah, well, I'm all in on Uruguay. You know,
Okay,
Cavani,
yeah,
6 to 10 are in our bets. The Morocco, Iran.
Just let me touch you
Yeah.
on Uruguay. I'm not too
Yeah.
clued up on the team. Good team, Budge.
They ran second in the group, qualified the South American qualifying group.
Who beat them? Brazil.
Brazil finished ahead of them, yeah. You know, they've got
they're a
Cavani,
good team.
Suarez, Diego, Godin at the
I
back.
saw they've taken a muzzle with
Yeah,
Suarez this year.
only way to stop him biting, you know.
Some player though.
Oh, no. If he's on fire, top
Yeah.
goal scorer could be, yeah?
Yeah.
So I've gone Uruguay to beat Egypt. I like Iran against Morocco. I think the betting's the wrong way around. You know, Carlos Queiroz.
I like the draw.
Yeah, you know, win and draw. I think it was
Remember we were
8 to
talking
10
about
Iran.
the draws earlier.
But yeah, they
Portugal,
both,
Spain.
Well, I can't see
8
there
to
being
10
many
Spain?
goals. Yeah, you know, after the commotion. But Portugal are well organised. You know,
Yeah,
they
that's
try and keep it tight and hope Ronaldo. If I had to have a bet, it would be 8 to 10 Spain. But under 2.5 goals as I play there, Paul. You know?
Who are the key players of France that they're 1 to 5?
Griezmann.
Pogba's group.
That's Pogba.
Pogba.
They've got Kante in the middle of the park. They've got Blaise Matuidi. They've got Pogba up front. They've got Griezmann,
Yeah.
Dembele, Mbappe.
Yeah,
they've
no,
got
they've
the
got
guy
some
Thomas
players.
Lamar.
Does a guy who played for West Ham get in?
Payet, he's injured. He was out. He's out. You can see the players they've left
Yeah.
out.
Phew, yeah, I can imagine.
But they stack. But it's the
And
mentality.
They're stacked, eh?
Stacked again.
Stacked again.
Yeah.
Argentina, Iceland.
Well, it should be the Argentinians. Yeah,
Okay.
Iceland will fight tooth and nail, but you've got to think Messi will get
Yeah.
a few chances.
Okay, how about the next one? Now, Peru, Denmark.
Ah, Peru win and draw again here.
Me
Paul.
too. I like the draw. I
You know,
like the draw.
They finished fourth, they finished fifth, but they only got. If Messi hadn't have scored the hat trick against Ecuador, they would have finished fourth in the group. I like them of the two teams. You know, Denmark,
I'm going to snitch a bit of 5-1 Nigeria.
Croatia.
They can play.
They got players, Paul.
But Nigeria got that
Yeah,
flair,
they can,
man.
plenty of flair. And they can score Iwobi and Nacho.
They can score.
Yeah, I think both teams to score there, Paul. I think it was 12 to 10.
Serbia
You won that.
hot pot against Costa Rica.
Costa Rica, watched them against England. They were terrible. You know,
Were
they
they?
caught everybody in the last World Cup. Remember, they got to the quarterfinals. They eliminated England. Serbia got a lot of good players.
Yeah.
All the itches, Matic. And,
Yeah, they have. They got a good squad.
you know, so 9 to 10.
Germany's
tight game.
great squad.
You know, it's not as good as the last squad.
Yeah, I was thinking that. You know.
You know, Hummels and Boateng at the back, the young fullback at Kimmich that plays for Bayern Munich, the left back, I don't know, in the middle of the park, I don't think they're as good as they were.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't
You
think
know,
they're as good as they
Kaderia
were.
and
Is the
Kroos.
Arsenal boy playing?
Yeah, Ozil. You know, I can't believe they dropped Sane. He never got in
Yeah.
the team. I just
Okay,
think that's personal.
madness. That's madness.
Well, they've kept Julian Drexler. You know, I can't have him. And up front, they haven't got a centre forward. They've got Timo Werner from RB Leipzig. They've got a guy, Wagner, who has hardly played for Bayern Munich. And they've got Thomas Muller. You know, I don't think he'll win you the World Cup at his age.
Mexico got a squeak here.
Yeah,
the
they
draw,
have.
the board draw is.
Both teams, over 2.5 goals, because the Mexicans, they have a go. Chicharito and Carlos Vela and those guys.
But there's got to be new youngsters who are going to set
Well, let's
the
hope
scene.
so,
Let's
because
hope. We
other
want to
than
see a couple of
Neymar
greats come
and-
through. I remember in Colombia, James Rodriguez
Yeah.
came on the scene. And suddenly he's now playing for one of the major sides.
Yeah.
He was a breath of fresh air.
They were unlucky in the last World Cup because
Yes.
Brazil beat them.
That's right.
You know, but let's hope so, Paul. This
Okay.
time we've got another crop of youngsters coming through, yeah.
Well, that's what we need. Okay, who's next here? Brazil.
Well, you've got to fancy Brazil to beat
4 to 10 is a
Switzerland.
good price.
Yeah, I think so
It's
too.
a good price. Should
You
be
know, I
1
looked
to
at
10.
-1. I think it was 12 to 10 to win by more than one.
That's
But,
a bet. That's a
Switzerland
bet.
very organised at the back.
Sweden, South Korea.
Well, that's your man up front, captain
Yeah.
of South Korea's son. But
Yeah.
Sweden, under 2.5 goals. They don't score many goals, Sweden.
yeah.
That's the only problem. But you've
Yeah.
got to think if they want to get through, They've got to beat...
Belgium, 1-6.
Well, the Canal men from Panama, they all came with their hats.
Yeah, okay,
They're
that's right.
Got to fancy Belgium, should be a
surely.
landslide. And you've got to think England should be...
England have to
should
win
to
there.
beat Tunisia, that's the
Jeez.
Monday, yeah.
Right, so that's the football budget. Let's go and have a look at what you worked out on your sixes and your tens
yeah.
and that. Right, let's get rolling. Tell us what we got here. Oh yeah, have a look here. There's our comedy. We wanted to mention it because for a very good cause. It's cancer fundraising for people in racing, and without mentioning those that are struggling, it's a really good cause. And Budge, I'd go anywhere to see
Barry Hilton.
Barry Hilton. I'd go anywhere to see. Brilliant.
A lunatic,
brilliant.
isn't he?
Yeah. So try and get yourself sorted.
It's a
out.
Thursday before the July.
Thursday before the July, come to, it's at the Elangeni.
Elangeni, yeah.
It's food and drink. It's a fantastic evening, but with Barry Hilton, it's even better. We've got international auction here. Steve Davis is going to auction some pieces. Barry Hilton has asked if he can auction a couple. Can you believe that half-wit can auction?
Hate to be in the front row, but he's auctioneering.
Yeah. I remember when Phil Giorgio walked underneath him last time he came to Durban, he said, Phil, you got a hole in your wig. So Barry's on form
He's
from the jump.
got to sit a long way away from the stage, that's for sure.
Yeah, so he's in town. Right, let's go have a look at these.
Yeah, you know, that's wrong. I've banked Argentina to beat Iceland. I don't know how it's come up as a 3 there. I've gone Peru win and draw against Denmark.
Sorry, that's a 1.
Yeah, it's the 1 in the first one. Yeah,
Okay,
there's no
please
way.
note that's a 1, okay?
Argentina to beat Iceland. I've gone Peru win and draw against Denmark. Croatia win and draw against Nigeria. Now, the next two are Serie B, the Brazilian Serie B. So Villanova, it's a local derby. Atletico Goianiense and Paysandu versus Algoana. And I've banked Serbia beat Croatia, Paul.
2-1-6.
Yeah.
Right, next one, Budge.
Okay, this soccer, this is a Swedish one with a through
They
other
always give us
companies.
a Swedish one.
Well, that's the only league that's really going at the moment. You know, I've gone Brage win and draw at Landskrona. I've gone the field with Vanama against RK Frej. I've gone Osters win and draw at Gefle. The next one is Latvian game. Metu LU against Lepaja. I've banked the away team. The home team hasn't won all season. Allgrat, I've banked them. They're going well in the Swedish Superettan to beat Norby. And I've gone the field in the Norwegian First Division. Nes Sotra versus Viking Stavanger.
Viking, eh? She.
2-1-6, yeah.
Okay, let's move on to 10.
We've got it right with the soccer 10. Yeah, I've banked Argentina to beat Iceland. I've banked Vastaris to beat Solentuna. I've gone BK forward, win and draw at home
That's
against
the name of the team,
Narcotics.
BK forward?
BK forward.
Where do you play? I'm a
Score a lot of goals.
Hey, I'm a defender for forward.
Keep tight at the back. Yeah, I've gone Peru win and draw against Denmark. Croatia win and draw against Nigeria. I've gone the field with Villanova versus Atletico Goianiense. I've gone Uster 1-2 against Krikiuma. I've gone Paysandu win and draw at home against El Goano. I've banked Delphin, the team from Ecuador. They're in the Copa Libertadores. They got stuck out in the group stage, but they should be too good for Guayaquil City. And I've gone Serbia win and draw against Costa Rica, 384.
All right, let's go on.
The 13 hours. You have a go, but it's very tough, Paul. I've gone Croatia win and draw at home against Nigeria. I've gone Peru win and draw against Denmark. Osters win and draw at Gefle. I've gone Brage win and draw at Landskrona. I've gone Vanama win and draw at home against Frej. I've banked Allgrat to beat Norby. Jolby to beat Oscar Hams. Second page, I've gone Odderfold to beat Angel Holmes. I've gone Eskils Mina win and draw at Skövde. I've gone Torns win and draw at Wittersburg. I've banked BK forward to beat Narkopins because I had to find another banker. Syrianska versus Karlsruhe. Now the last game's a women's game. Rosenberg have played Pitya 18 times and haven't lost. So it's a 1-2-3 game because Pitya are unbeaten in the league this year. So I've gone 2 and 3. I've gone with the favourite team, 384.
Okay, they make it tough, eh?
Yeah, well, there's no other games, so it's the Swedes. They control it, so they can do what they want.
Okay,
they're all World Cup bets, Paul. I've gone the Group A and B. I've gone Uruguay to beat Egypt tomorrow. I've gone Uruguay to win Group A. I've gone under 2.5 goals in the Spain-Portugal game, and Morocco to finish bottom of Group B. I had to get the odds inflated, Paul. 2,200.
It's tough.
Group C treble, I've gone Peru win and draw against Denmark. Both teams to score in the France-Australia game, and Peru to finish second in Group C.
Gee, it's complex.
28 to 200, yeah. Group C and D treble, I've gone Peru to qualify from the group. over 2.5 goals in the Argentina-Iceland game, and both teams to score in Croatia-Nigeria.
I like that bet.
2,000 to 200.
bet,
Yeah.
sure.
You know, Group E and F,
10
I've
to
gone.
1, Butch. That's
Yeah.
a good bet.
You know, Brazil to beat Sweden.
Switzerland.
Switzerland, Serbia to finish second in the group. Over 2.5 goals in the Sweden-South Korea. And Mexico to score over 3.5 goals in their 3 group games in Group F.
That's another wonderful bet.
So, yeah, there's a variety
You've
of
done
bets.
a bit of
so you can
scheming.
go on over
Yeah.
2.5, but over 3.5, they always have a go. They've got the Germans in the first game. I think they'll score there. Then the slightly 2 easier games.
Yeah.
So 17 to 1 that
So they
worked
could win
out.
that in one game. They could
Well,
win
if they
4-0.
beat the Germans, then the whole World Cup thing has gone to the dogs. You know,
Yeah.
everyone's grids and bets. And the last one, I've taken a treble. I've gone Uruguay to win Group A. I've nailed my colours to the mast, Paul. I think they're the best team by street. I've gone Brazil to win Group E. And I've got Neymar to be the player of the tournament. For he was 8 to 1. I didn't want to take 4 to 1 Brazil. I thought if Brazil are going to win it, they're going as far as Neymar.
Yeah.
He was 7-8 to 1, so 2,900 to 200. And the World Cup double, I've gone Uruguay to reach the quarterfinals, and France to win the World Cup. Have a bit of fun. 18 to 1, 3,600.
Quickest 200 we've ever done.
Well, we'll get to the semi-finals, Paul. Then
Yeah.
we've got to start
trading.
Yeah.
Start trading. Well, there we go, and it's wonderful month of football coming up ahead of us, and we've all got our fancies. Bud, you've gone for France.
Yeah, I've jumped ship from the
He
Brazilians.
jumped. I've stuck with the Brazilians. Who does Steve go for?
He fancied Brazil as well.
Brazil. Well, the boys are going with the favourites. Top of the board.
Top of the board.
All right, that's all for this week. Make sure you stay on side.